18 years ago, a legend was born.
Helmuth wins the championship.
Year after year, bracelet after bracelet, the legend only grew.
It's what I wanted the most.
In the poker world.
I can dodge bullets, baby.
And in his own mind.
If there weren't luck involved, I guess I'd win every one.
Now, Phil Helmuth, winner of a record 11 gold bracelets, seeks to capture number 12.
Here it is, baby. That's what I've been waiting for.
And take one step closer to poker immortality.
To stick a 12 spot on the board? Oh, baby. I mean, who's ever going to catch me?
Sit back. The Phil Helmuth Show is about to begin.
I'm ready to go right now, baby. Deal.
Welcome to the Rio and the 2007 World Series of Poker presented by Milwaukee's Best Light. I'm Lon McCarran along with Norman Chad. Play already underway at what should be a memorable night as the always entertaining Phil Helmuth is trying for his 12th gold bracelet.
And there is the face of poker, Phil Helmuth. As he might say, we are blessed to have him here.
You got Phil Ivey over there sweating you, huh?
I do? Boy, I'm a lucky girl.
The other Phil Ivey, is rooting on Beth Shak. He's friends with Beth's husband, Dan, sitting to Ivey's left.
He said if you made him agree, if you made a final table, he'd have to watch you.
We agree.
About 4 years ago, Beth actually hired Phil Helmuth to give her husband a private poker lesson for his birthday. She listened in, and now she is here.
And you may remember our chip leader, Dustin Holmes, as the catalyst in the Prahlad Friedman Jeffrey Lissandro flare-up during last year's main event. And yeah, he finished 19th in that main event. Holmes with almost 1.4 million chips. Phil Helmuth, the short stack of the 10. Also here is bracelet winner Perry Friedman, and last time we saw him, he brought along an alter ego.
The hand told me, maintain your laser beam-like focus.
And he's here again. That is Stu, I think, Norman.
What, he's like Prince? No last name?
Right now, Perry and Stu are in 4th place.
No, if I do stacks of 9, I think I have more than I have.
Action folds over to Phil Helmuth, 42 years old, from Palo Alto, California, on the Milwaukee's Best Light Pocket Cam King 6 offsuit.
There are 10 players left here. 9 make an official World Series final table. So if Helmuth outlasts one more player, this will be his 6th World Series final table in the last 2 years. 6!
50.
And Phil is going to raise it up to 50,000. That's a lot of his remaining stack. Next in line, 21-year-old Luke Vrabel of Connecticut.
Luke aspires to be the next poker brat.
Just 50?
He says if it weren't for skill, I'd win every one.
He's going to fold that one. Now to Ben Feynman, 23-year-old from Las Vegas. He's got a queen. He's got ace-queen.
Ben moved from back east to Las Vegas. He says 85% for the poker and 15% because he hated the cold and the snow.
He's in the right place.
I'm all in.
And Ben is going to move all in, come over the top of Phil Helmuth. This would put Phil all in.
Many players would go all in this spot, particularly with this few chips. But Phil is big on preserving chips to give himself a better opportunity to double up down the line.
Boy, oh boy, I'm supposed to take the math. I kind of had a feeling you'd break me, though.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
The math is this. Phil's getting almost 2-to-1 on his money, and he's almost a 2-to-1 dog. However, this is for all of his chips, and he's just got a king. Phil, I'd like to see you stick around. Muck it, buddy.
And he does indeed muck it. Helmuth gets out of the way and lives to play another hand, but the short stack gets a lot shorter. Feynman, at his first World Series, played his bigger stack to its full potential against Phil Helmuth.
Nice hand, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Nice to see the youth respectful of each other. Actually, I just think they have a common bond. Kill Phil.
None of the internet players understand my laydown.
I don't understand it.
Of course not.
And I'm not even an internet player. I mean, you're that good that you could still win with that 80,000, you know? So.
70.
70. 70,000.
And I had a king.
And you put 50 in.
Yeah.
You are quite a player.
You're the world. All right, you represent the world. I represent Phil Helmuth.
We know who you represent.
The poker brat in classic form right from the get-go. Phil Helmuth loves to describe himself as the greatest Hold'em player in the world. As we watch him go for bracelet number 12 tonight, Norman, it's hard to make an argument against him.
Fact number 1, Phil Helmuth never checks his ego at the door. He brings it everywhere he goes. Fact number 2, Phil Helmuth has the most bracelets ever, and every single one of them is in Hold'em. So who can argue with him about being the best? I just wish instead of talking the talk, he'd write it down once in a while to give my ears a rest.
Phil has authored a couple of books. I'm sure you could pick them up at your local bookstore if you need to, Norman. All right. Action on Phil Helmuth. The blinds at 10 and 20,000. 10 players left. Phil Helmuth with an ace. Now, a short stack, sometimes that's good enough. And with 2 aces, it's party time for Phil Helmuth.
40,000.
What are those bluffing chips?
I might lay it down again.
He can still fall.
Yeah, you really, if one person would, I think it'd be you.
Phil only has 27,000 left. That's an odd bet.
Vrabel will fold. Feynman gets rid of it, as does Holmes. Over to Brett Ritchie, 26-year-old rap musician from New York, in the big blind.
If he's a rapper, I'm an astronaut.
7-4 offsuit.
You're the rest of the world. You got to take the math.
Against 2 high cards, this would be okay math-wise with the 7-4 offsuit.
So that's what, 46 more?
Against any big pocket pair like Phil has, this is not okay math-wise.
Ritchie has plenty of chips. He can afford it if he wants to gamble.
All right.
Oh,
Sounds like he will.
Good luck, guys.
And Phil can't push in his
boy.
chips fast enough.
Phil being Phil. All in. It's a great expression on Brett Ritchie's face.
Mid-range short stacks?
That's why you lay it down. That's why you lay it down.
Phil over talking to his wife Kathy and their friends.
Yeah, Brett, you just got outplayed, man. You just got owned.
Fold half your chips and pick up aces the next hand.
Honey, get your jacket on. I think we're leaving. Get your jacket on. I think we're leaving. I'm only 5 or 6 to 1 favorite.
I have to call that. I have to do that.
I don't know if he has to, but he certainly benefited us entertainment-wise because it's Helmuth.
Phil, Ivy wants to know if you want insurance.
Oh.
Yes, I do.
Ivy wants a piece of the action.
What is this, blackjack?
Yeah. What am I? 6 to 1, right? Okay, I'd take it for 4.5. 20,000 to 90,000.
You got it.
Okay. Honey, I just insured the hand.
Ivy shimmy-shammed Helmuth.
If we lose the pot, Ivy has to pay me $90,000. We got insurance.
Helmuth's almost a 6 to 1 favorite in the hand. Ivy's laying 4.5 to 1. I want Phil Ivy handling my money.
All right, here's the flop. King, Jack, 8, 3-0 cards to Ritchie.
You're looking good, Phil.
Pair the board and let's just end
Looking
it.
good, Phil.
Remember, Helmuth is all in, but Ritchie's going to need some runners to knock out Phil right here.
All right, turn card is a king, and that ends it. Ritchie is drawing dead, and Phil Helmuth wins the hand.
But loses 20 grand to Ivy.
So Brett Ritchie could not knock off Phil
That's why you
Helmuth.
lay down the king. That's why you don't take the math. King 6. But I mean, it was an obvious call to the rest of the world. That's why you lay down the king 6, honey, right there, okay?
So Helmuth gives the room a lesson in poker.
There's the rest of the world, and there's me.
Wow, we can now add to the book a new entry into the quotable Phil Helmuth World Series edition.
The World Series of Poker, presented by Milwaukee's Best Lights.
Back inside the Rio, Luke Vrabel's pocket 9s are up against Ben Feynman's pocket queens. The river card is no help to Vrabel, and he is knocked out, becoming our 10th place finisher. Vrabel will earn over $21,000, and now with 9 left, this is an official World Series final table.
And for Phil Helmuth, another milestone, his 39th final table, tying TJ Cloutier for most in World Series history.
Feynman pads his chip stack with about 250,000 new chips, moves him up 1 notch on the leaderboard, which is still led by Dustin Holmes. A new milestone for Phil Helmuth, but still a lot of work to be done as the short stack. Dustin Holmes with over 1.3 million chips, but little reason to play so far. And with 10-5, I can see why. And he will sit this one out too. Jason Song, 38-year-old grad student from Duke. I wish I was a 38-year-old grad student.
At any age, you could not get into Duke.
Pocket jacks for Jason Song.
Jason, a pretty conservative player. And he moves all in, and usually he has been holding a good hand when he plays.
There's Daniel Corbin from Toronto, 8th on the chip count. He will give up his cards, as does Perry Friedman. And Beth Shak back around to Phil Helmuth in the big blind. Phil's got an ace and a 9.
And again, most players with an ace and this size stack would push all in here, but Phil is not most players.
You got a big hand there, buddy?
Phil loves the sound of his own voice, but it has purpose. He intimidates. He affects your play against him.
What a shame, what a waste. We're letting these guys rob my blinds for 2 days to set this up. And I got moved in on instead. Oh, God. Shankar for sure was going for it.
He decides to sideswipe Shankar Pillai in what I believe is a fold in progress.
So sick. He might be a little weak too, by the way.
I'd rather watch Phil Helmuth fold than Picasso paint. It is high art.
I mean, nowhere in the world did they ever think my blind was an easy blind, except this group, Perry. I've got it conditioned. You think my blind's easy, right, Shankar? You won it like 10 in a row, right?
It's pretty easy, yeah.
Right, exactly. Nowhere in the world do they believe that is the case, except these guys. I conditioned them all day yesterday because I knew it was coming.
So it was easy for a while.
Intentionally, of course.
Phil lays it down.
So they're just observant. You can't fault them for being observant.
Jason picks up the blinds and antes.
That's so sick. This play I set up for 2 days.
That's a lot of planning.
Finally had the move in hand, and then he got in the way.
Hard to believe he was setting up a trap for 2 days, but how do you doubt the all-time bracelet winner?
I've never held the record alone before, and now I have it.
I get it all. That's what I do.
Number 11 was the one, man.
Yes! Wow! I'm on cloud 9. 3,000 players?
To win it was just out of this world.
Record number 11, Phil Helmuth Jr.
And now I feel like, let's open the floodgates. Just let my hand hold up. It's coming down. I just want to keep driving forward, 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 forward. Do I want to be the first guy to 15? Yes. Do I want to be the first guy to 20? Yes.
I'm gonna make it tonight. I'm gonna break the record.
At the end of time, I want to be the greatest player that ever lived. For all of the great athletes, motivation's not an issue. I want to be at full power. Now I smell weakness. Full power. I cannot play any better. Sometimes I feel like fire comes out of my hands. Full power, baby! I'm ready to be the man. I'm ready to embrace history. I'm ready to do it.
He has embraced history. He now has the most bracelets, most final tables, and most cashes in World Series history. If I wore a hat, I'd have to tip it to him.
And there is Shankar Pillai, a 22-year-old student in Manhattan, playing in his first ever World Series of Poker event. He makes the final table, 10-9, suited in diamonds.
And here is Shankar raising Phil's small blind.
Raises it to 60,000. Helmuth with a king. He's going to squeeze it out for us.
Updated 11.
King, queen offsuit for Helmuth.
This is what you got to love, Lon, if you're Shankar Pillai. You're 22 years old in your first World Series event, and you get to sit there while Phil Helmuth gives you the once-over. I mean, how cool is that?
Well, Phil uses everything he can to intimidate. His 6'6" frame, his bracelets, his persona, his glasses, you name it. Phil makes the call, though.
And if you're lucky, if you're Shankar, you eventually might get a speech from the great one.
You saw Feynman fold, so it'll be heads up. Helmuth and Pillai to the flop. The flop is deuce, king, ace. Helmuth hits his king to stretch his lead.
Middle pair, top kicker for Helmuth. Pillai got nothing.
Helmuth checked it.
And Helmuth is hoping to use Shankar's aggressiveness against him.
Pillai is reaching for the chips, and he's going to bet 60,000.
All right, I'm all in.
Helmuth moves in right away and springs the trap.
And it's just another 16,000 for Pillai. He'd be getting like 19-1 on his money, but he's got nuclear squadouche.
And he does give it up. Helmuth takes the pot.
And that's incredible that Shankar couldn't or wouldn't call there, just 16,000 more into a pot of 300,000.
Well, he had like the 10 high. I had pocket aces. I hit a set.
Phil was right about 10 high. He's got a memory lapse on his own hand, though.
I knew he was bluffing the flop. This is what I set up for 2 days.
Short stacked and still controlling the table. Back at the Rio, there is just one of the 55 bracelets to be handed out at this year's World Series of Poker. And, of course, Phil Helmuth hopes that's his bracelet number 12.
Another day, another record.
Holding the most bracelets is not the only World Series record Helmuth holds. Not only is he now tied with most final table appearances with 39, also he has the most lifetime cashes with 60, but not far behind him is Min, the master win, with 55 career cashes.
When I grow up, I want to be like Man the Master, buddy.
That's Ellie Elezer having some fun with Men the Master. And in third place on the all-time cashes list is that man right there, TJ Cloutier with 50. So far, this year's cashes leader is Michael Binger, the part-time theoretical physicist poker player who finished third at last year's main event.
What the hell I was thinking, moving all in and shot him. But...
I figured Binger was a pretender last year. Guess what? I was wrong. Again.
So Binger with 5 cashes so far this year. The record is 8 in a year, held by Umberto Brenes, Chris Ferguson, and Phil Helmuth. Back now to our $3,000 no-limit Hold'em final table. We do have 9 players left, and there again is Daniel Corbin. 27 years old, just passed the bar exam in Canada.
Canadians, they're nicer than us, Lon.
Come on.
They really are.
And the Canadian moves all in with King 9 of diamonds. Pillai now with pocket 8s.
How much is that? About 105.
Shankar's aggressive when he doesn't have a hand. Now he's got a hand. Does he have another gear of aggressive?
I'll go on.
And he is going to move all in, hoping to scare out any potential callers. Now to Beth Shak, 39 years old, self-employed with ace-queen.
Well, I don't like the ace-queen offsuit in this spot, but she's thinking about it with 2 all-in raises in front of her.
And Beth Shak moves all in.
Wow.
Helmuth gets out of the way.
Well, Beth goes with it, and actually, as you can see from the percentages, she's in pretty good shape.
And Beth has both Pillai and Corbin covered, and so she has a chance to knock off 2 players here.
And Ivy's telling Dan Shak, did you teach your wife that? Corbin all in, Shankar also all in. He's got the best hand right now with a pair of 8s.
Now the flop, 3-way action, 6-7 Jack. Pillai and his pocket 8 still in the lead.
But he has to dodge 4 overcards that his opponents are holding.
Shaq can still knock them both out with a little luck. Turn card now is another club, and she's got a flush draw.
Club, queen, 8.
Club, queen, or ace, and she knocks out both of them. Shankar still ahead. Corbin needs a non-club king or 9, or he is gone.
And the river card is a 3 of hearts, and Pillai wins big with his 8s. Shaq took a chance, but she took a hit. Shankar Pillai is the big winner in this hand.
Thanks,
He
guys.
now is almost 700,000 chips. Daniel Corbin is your 9th place finisher, winning almost $31,000.
Shankar blessed on that hand. He dodges the overcards and then had to fade a club on the river.
So Shankar Pillai with a nice win. He now moves up to 3rd place on the chip count. Dustin Holmes still quiet, but still our chip leader, Ben Feynman, in 2nd place. Ben has said he will donate 25% of his winnings to the Desmoid Tumor Research Foundation. Desmoid tumor's a rare disease that afflicts his brother Alex. Action folds to Phil Helmuth. 1-9. Phil has pocket 9s.
You know, Phil's been around so long, Lon, I'm surprised he doesn't look at both of his whole cards quicker. It just saves time.
And with pocket 9s, he is going to raise it up to 60,000. There is Feynman with 2 queens.
Well, see, the kid was quicker than Phil. No muss, no fuss, and then you can just go about your business of raising the greatest Hold'em player of all time.
And Phil is not going to like this. And he will come over the top of Phil and raise it to 175,000.
I'm going to take you up. You know that.
It's going to be mighty hard to do with half my stack.
Touché, Ben.
I'm trying to figure out if he's just trying to donk his money off to me, or what the deal is.
Phil's talk will wear you down and it'll often break you down.
I think he was proposing or something.
Okay, Perry, that's enough, please.
I'm just having a conversation with Beth over here.
Perry, I said that's enough. Is it all right? Do you want to keep talking to me while I'm making a decision for my chips? You think it's messing around?
Now go to your room.
Play nothing but the nuts for 3 days, and they still think I'm messing around. They're so young.
So young.
So there's so much to learn.
So much to learn.
All right, son, you can outplay me again.
Another good fold from Phil.
Phil shows 2 9s, 9 of spades, and
8s
says he folds.
or 7s.
And Ben is going
Feynman absorbs the wrath of Phil. He should wear those Helmuth scars as a badge of honor.
I'm taking you out, kid.
And the rumblings from Mount Helmuth grow stronger. Back inside the Rio Poker Room and our no-limit final table, where it's been Phil Helmuth versus the world.
It's okay. You can rob me a couple times, kid.
Phil, do you even know my name at this point? Just out of curiosity.
Go ahead, Phil. Take a guess.
You want to play? Let's play. I'm going to show you a little something, okay?
I think Phil thinks his name is Joey.
Phil.
I think I'm going to catch you, because I'm going to have a hand every time.
How often have I raised you, Phil? In 2 days?
cares?
Has it been? Is that once?
Who cares how often you've raised me?
Once too many, I guess.
World Series rookie Ben Feynman almost didn't enter this tournament. That was until he got some help from one very special person.
When this World Series came to town, I had just finished a nasty downswing while I was in the process of buying a house. So my bankroll was nowhere near what I expected to be. I still wanted to play, so I figured I'd look for a backer. And sure enough, my mom, who is a big fan of mine and follows my poker career, was more than happy to put me in, and she's been more excited about everything throughout this whole process than I have. I've been calling her on every single break of every tournament I enter to give her the updates, and she's loving it. I'm all in.
all in.
Maybe I can send my mom a check for $260,000 for her contribution. But even if I didn't make a single dollar, she'd be just as happy. When I decided to play poker for a living, her words were, "Follow your bliss." And here I am at the final table.
Ben graduated from Boston University, where he says he studied business and poker. He went to Foxwoods on his 21st birthday and just kept going back.
Looking for top prize of almost $528,000 at this no-limit Hold'em final table. Short stack Phil Helmuth on the Milwaukee's Best Light Pocket Cam with pocket 4s. Phil makes the call.
I'm steaming, baby.
Other people raise when they're steaming. Phil just limps in.
Folded around to Pillai on the button, Queen Jack.
Just move all in. I'll probably lay this hand down, too, for you.
Pillai will just make the call. To small blind Perry Friedman, who's got a red stripe in his hair to mimic his favorite mixed martial arts fighter, Jason Mayhem Miller.
I can't fold if Phil is steaming.
And he will just limp in. And out of the big blind, Beth Shak.
She can play for free if she wishes, or raise.
Ace 4. And she will check her option. 4 players to the
Or
flop.
I'll probably lay this hand down, too. Don't worry.
I check dark. But my hand will look.
All right, here we go to the flop. Friedman's already checked. 6, 10, 5. Friedman catches a 10 for top pair. And Beth Shak checked. Now Helmuth bets $20,000 with his 4s.
Shankar missed that flop completely.
Raise. He is going to raise it up now to $60,000.
Shankar describes himself as tight aggressive. I don't know where he got tight from.
I'll tell you after the hand.
Friedman hit top pair but folds, as does Beth Shak.
See, Norman?
Yes, Phil.
I have my usual super strong hand.
Hey, I'm there for you, but you limped in with pocket 4s.
But they at least, this time I think they knew that I had at least a pair to start.
Well, Phil, thinking about giving up the 4s? And yes, he will.
Never win a pot. It's
And
such a joke.
I would pay Shankar good money to show his bluff right now.
You might have like 10-9 or Jack 10.
So ready to give me their chips.
Phil, he swaggle-fooshed you.
So Pillai takes that pot. Phil Helmuth remains the short stack. Beth Shak has dropped a few spots. Dustin Holmes is still the chip leader.
Lon, did Dustin Holmes ante on this hand?
I think he did.
Just checking.
$3,000 ante from each player, and Dustin with 10 deuce.
Actually, we got a lot of 20-somethings at this table, and Lon, they are all very, 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 very nice.
Perry Friedman will fold. Beth Shak on the button gives it up now to Phil Helmuth in the small blind. An 8. And an ace. Phil has come up with some rather odd bets so far today. Right now, just calls the big blind to Feynman in the big blind.
By the way, I guarantee you Phil does not know his name.
Jack 9 of diamonds. He will check his option. Here's the flop. Jack A6. What a flop for Phil, hitting his ace and having Feynman pair his jack.
Oh, Phil has been planning this for 2 days.
20.
Well, he's at least drooling, I'm sure. Bets 20,000 though.
Teeny bet.
Feynman now raises enough to put Helmuth all in, and Phil jumps into the pot.
Phil could use an etiquette lesson from Gloria Vanderbilt.
Phil anxiously wondering what he's up against.
Nice handful.
And Helmuth now will be at risk once again.
This was the kid that I had a bad vision that might bust me.
I really hope I win so I can be berated on national television.
And you would be, trust me.
Ivy!
Ace 8, Jack 9.
I want insurance, Ivy. Jack 9 against Ace 8.
Here we go
Jack
again.
9 got Ace 8.
Phil, he could lose this one. He's running out of his, he's like a cat with 9.
I understand.
Yeah, like he's gonna pass. I'll take 5 to 1.
No, that's ridiculous. You're not 5 to 1 here.
It is. I am about 5 to 1. He only has 5 outs twice. I'll take 4 to 1.
Yes. I don't know what you are right now. You're not 5 to 1.
Don't deal it yet. Give me 1 second. 4 to 1, 20 to 80.
It's like 3 to 1, Phil.
I'll take 70 to 20. You know him.
It's like 3 to 1.
20. All right, you got it. 60 to 20.
Ivy just shimmy shammed him again.
Actually, I'm going. Hey Phil, I'm going 30 to 90. 30 to 90.
All right, deal.
He's laying 3 to 1. Helmuth's a 4 to 1 favorite.
If we lose, I get 90,000 from Ivy.
He's more excited about getting 90,000 from Ivy than winning the darn tournament. And Phil Ivy is one smooth snake oil salesman.
Don't do it to me.
All
Just
right.
turn an ace and let's end it.
Phil is a 4 to 1 favorite, but all in.
This would be so fun if I hit. Oh my God.
All right, here comes a turn card. 7 of clubs. Helmuth still good.
Who said that? Somebody said 9 ball.
I got to fade a jack or a 9 for my money.
Ivy's right. Feynman needs a jack or a 9 to knock out Helmuth.
River card now is a 3 of spades. Helmuth doubles up again.
You know, Ben Feynman could learn a lot from Phil on poker strategy, but Phil could learn a lot from Ben on tableside manner.
I apologize to the table. I'm sorry, guys. I tried.
But indeed, Phil Helmuth lives.
This is why we came here. Come to daddy.
That's 50 grand now.
I ran out of money in my pocket. I owe you 30.
That's okay. Your credit's good.
While he may be losing cash to Ivy, Phil Helmuth is still in the hunt for World Series of Poker bracelet number 12.
This is the greatest tournament in the world!
Coming soon, all the drama, all the excitement, all the glory. The World Series of Poker main event is only 2 weeks away. Who will it be?
It will be Phil Ivy.
Wrong again. Roland DeWolf, Norman. You will learn, the world will learn. Perry Friedman with ace 10 offsuit.
Perry's got a lot of fancy degrees from Stanford. Big deal.
80,000.
80,000 is the raise from Friedman with the ace 10.
Jamie Gold's the defending champion of the main event. I do not think he will repeat.
Well, that's going out on a limb. Look how big the fields are. Nobody repeats anymore.
I love the limb.
Jason Song has an ace, and he's taken lessons from Helmuth, I guess, in squeezing the cards. He's got pocket aces.
Raise to 180. Raise.
And a re-raise now to 180,000.
I didn't go to Stanford, but I believe Song has the better hand. The best hand to hold against pocket aces is 9-8 suited. I read that in Card Player. The worst hand is ace 6. Perry doesn't have much better than that with ace 10.
Call.
But he does make the call.
But you can see those percentages, not good for Perry right now.
Perry Friedman stepping into trouble.
They better watch out. The hand has a strip of doom now.
There was a robin's nest outside my bedroom window when I was a kid. I think Perry used to live there.
All right, here we go to the flop. Friedman looking for help. Jack 9-3 does not give him any. Friedman checks it. Nothing on the board to worry Song, and indeed he does move all in. It would be 183,000 more for Friedman to call.
Perry's getting about 3.5 to 1 on his money, but he missed the flop, and all he has is ace high. I think this is an easy fold. Then again, I went to Maryland on a Yahtzee scholarship.
Yeah, like 7s, 8s.
Like aces.
Friedman trying to get a read on the stone-faced Jason Song. And Perry will lay it down.
Nice hand.
And Jason Song picks up a good pot after a fine laydown by Friedman and company. Jason Song now over 600,000 chips. And you know, Norman, the rule in all card rooms is one player per hand, but the rule doesn't say anything about a hand helping the player play the hand, as in the case of Perry Friedman and his special friend Stu.
Hello, I am Stu. I channel the ghost of Stu Unger to give Perry advice while he's playing.
What should I do? I think you need to call here.
As Stu, I like to ram and jam.
He says call.
But Perry doesn't always listen to me.
I'm very much ADHD, and when I'm not in a hand, I'll go crazy if I'm not doing something.
Oh, I love to take a look at the cards. Sometimes I can sneak around and look at other people's cards too.
But my hand will work. I'm just having a good time. I wouldn't be playing poker if I didn't enjoy it. I'm not in it for the money. I'm not in it for the glory. I'm in it for the competition. Life's too short to not be having fun.
Talk to the hand. Let me see what you got.
Perry's an odd sort. He once entered a ladies-only poker tournament dressed in drag, and he also won a bet from Andy Block by eating a black Kino crayon.
And he is also starting to leak away his chips. He is now in 7th place. Feynman and Dustin Holmes lead the way at this final table.
Perry Friedman, who is friends with Helmuth, says Phil is a great player against weaker opponents. Perry says people just lose their mind against him, and he exploits that.
Phil's going to raise it up to 80,000 with a suited 7-6.
Over to Joey now.
Ben Feynman folds. Now Shankar Pillai with a suited 7-6.
Same hand. And boy, you know, I think Shankar likes playing against Phil, plus he would have position here.
Pillai on the button with the raise from Helmuth. He'll make the call. Friedman folded. Now Beth Shak with ace-queen again.
She likes ace-queen.
And she moves all in again with ace-queen.
I know you didn't tell her to move over the top of me in the one hole, Ivy.
What do you say? What do you say?
I know you told her to get aggressive, but I know you didn't try to... I'm in the one hole, baby.
What's the one hole? What's that mean?
You can take Ocean's 13. I will take Phil Helmuth. I'd pay $9.75 to watch him for a couple of hours.
I thought you only opened with 10s or better. What's going on?
Phil will lay it down. Pillai with the same hand lays it down as well, and Beth Shak comes over the top of everyone, and they bow to her pressure.
Big hand for a little lady.
This is so sick.
So sick, Lon.
So sick. I raise one hand every 20 hands, and they keep moving in on me. And I don't have 4 million in chips yet. So sick.
Phil feeling the pressure. Perhaps bracelet number 12 is moving out of his reach.
The World Series of Poker, presented by Milwaukee's Best Light. Player of the Year.
In event number 24, 7-card stud high-low, the final table was laden with gold, with a total of 8 gold bracelets amongst the competitors, 4 of them belonging to the great Scotty Wynn.
That's right, baby. The first one is always the good one, baby.
Heads up, it was Scotty going against World Series veteran Elia Lesra, who was seeking his first gold bracelet.
Yes, 9-up! Scotty made 5th bracelet mistake of his life.
Are you crazy, baby?
It was a party atmosphere as Scotty and Ellie traded cocktails.
Where's your drink, baby? Where's your cocktail?
Along with the chip lead.
I'm not gonna stack him up again because he's gonna do the same thing.
In the end, Lesra outplayed the Prince of Poker and captured his elusive first bracelet.
And Ellie won an additional $250,000 from a side bet he made before the World Series on whether he would win a bracelet.
Now, Lesra picked up 100 points toward the Player of the Year award with that bracelet. Right now, Scott Clements with a bracelet and other cashes at this World Series is the current leader. 8-handed at this $3,000 no-limit Hold'em final table. Brett Ritchie with pocket kings is going to raise it up to $80,000.
Brett could use some luck here.
To Beth Shak. There's one ace. She's got luck. She got pocket aces.
I raise.
Doesn't bode well for Brett.
Beth's trying to figure out how much she wants to raise. We know she likes to go all in with ace-queen.
I'm all in.
She goes Heidi-ho.
That means all in. Now to Phil Helmuth, who has the other two aces.
All in.
And he moves all in.
Both pocket aces all in.
We got 3 other players back.
Action back to Brett Ritchie now with pocket kings.
They're going to chop up my poor little boy.
1/4 second it caught. The minute she said all in, all in. 1/4 second I was all in. 1/4 of a second.
Phil, 1/4 of the second.
1/4 of a second.
1/4 of a second.
Count her chips.
Action is still to Brett Ritchie to decide.
Can you pull the 80s in?
Got it.
Beth is dancing already.
That's wrong.
There's Phil's 80, okay?
Flashing signs to her husband, Dan.
I think she's got aces. She has aces.
This could influence Ritchie.
Yeah, I'm all in.
But he is going to move all in. This has to be our degree all-in moment.
You know, Phil berated Perry Friedman earlier. Brett Ritchie was deciding for his tournament life right there, and the poker brat was grandstanding. And Beth Shak was out of order, too, singing, I got it. Everybody's out of order.
So bottom line is both Phil Helmuth with aces and Brett Ritchie with kings are at risk. Beth Shak with aces has them both covered.
I don't think I've ever seen that before. And Brett had a lot of chips left. I guess he should have figured out one of them had aces. I wouldn't have. They were helping him.
So Shak with the 2 red aces. Helmuth with the 2 black aces looking for action.
Doesn't matter. It's still 4-1. All the suits are covered. I got both the suits covered. You got 2 black kings. I got 2 black aces.
Well, all the aces are gone, but Ritchie knows there's 2 more kings left.
It is like a 3-ring circus in here. And Phil Helmuth's always on 2 of the rings.
Come on, baby.
Well, his tournament life is at stake, as is bracelet number 12.
3.
Here we go to the flop. It is 10, tray, 7, 2 spades.
Oh, if runner, spade comes, I believe Phil Helmuth would launch himself into orbit.
He has the ace of spades, of course. Ritchie still looking for one of the 2 kings. Turn card now, 8 of clubs.
Well, we're almost certainly going to have a split pot here, and that would eliminate Brett Ritchie.
And the king of hearts.
Brett will need a king and a king only, or he is whamboozled.
River card, 4 of clubs. And it will be a split pot, and Brett Ritchie will be eliminated in 8th place.
Sorry.
Helmuth and Shak get the double degree check mark.
Yes.
Beth happy her dead aces held up.
Good battle.
So Ritchie takes his lead. He will win over $42,000. But Helmuth and Shak with their aces will chop up the pot.
What was that?
I was hoping it would come.
Ace is no good.
The kings were no good. The aces are still here.
The Degree All-In Moment is brought to you by Degree Men. More power than you need. One day you'll need it.
Back in the Rio Poker Room, they've given away a lot of bracelets so far. Still a lot more to be handed out. Perhaps number 12 to Phil Helmuth.
Phil, I got to keep moving up just to cover my debt to you. You hope I finish second to Beth.
Beth and Phil both were out of line on that aces hand line. Brett Ritchie probably should have picked up on their gestures and comments to the crowd in regard to their hands. It was wrong.
Helmuth right now with Jack Deuce.
Raise it.
And getting a little frisky here with Jack Deuce.
I'd say so with his stack
85.
being that short.
He's going to make it $85,000 to play. Ben Feynman with Ace Jack.
Well, there's a hand that would dominate Phil.
He has come over the top of Phil a couple of times.
Buddy, I'm easy. And when I talk, it means weakness usually, right? That's what they say.
Well, maybe not this time.
He folded.
Maybe Phil talked Ben out of that hand.
Now our chip leader, Dustin Holmes, with a few decent hole cards to play with. He's got Jack 10.
Another hand that would dominate Phil, but he gives it up also.
Shankar Pillai now with a king. Already better than Phil. Ace King.
Well, Phil's talk doesn't seem to have a lot of effect on Shankar. Plus, he's got a great hand here.
200,000.
And he is going to re-raise it to 200,000.
200?
And that sends Phil spinning.
Phil, it's the same two people every time. Don't even look at me.
Oh, she's enabling him.
These guys might not make it to the final 5, and they just want to play against me like it's personal.
The World Series rookie Pillai, as I mentioned, not afraid to go up against Phil, but he's got a great hand.
These guys, they play so bad, they don't know how to slow down.
Don't know how to slow down.
It's like dying.
They came over the top of me. I raised 1 out of every 30 hands. They keep raising me and raising me. The guy probably won't make the final 5. Does not know how to slow down.
Doesn't know how to slow down.
One more time, I have to lay it down.
Phil, I have you beat, Phil.
Phil has Jack Deuce offsuit.
These players are so frickin' bad.
There are guys in the reference room of the public library who haven't beat right now.
Phil folds it.
It's got a big hand. You got a big hand. You're under the gun. Like, what do you...
He was ready to play.
This is just sick.
So sick.
They don't have any respect at all for me, and I don't have all their chips yet. Every day, there's a whole group of people that don't respect me. I get their chips every day. You've dodged the bullet like 4 or 5 times. It's so sick.
I respect you, Phil. And part of me loves him too.
How do the internet players do against the real world players?
Absolutely amazing this year.
Oh, yeah?
Bracelet after bracelet.
I bust 100 of them every day.
Actually, he does. And he lectures like 200 of them.
Perry Friedman with Jack 10.
120, all in.
And he has been stuck in reverse, and he's going to risk all 120,000 on Jack 10.
Meticulously pushes those chips in.
Beth Shak folded the small blind, now to Phil Helmuth in the big blind.
By the way, Perry says that Phil has the record for the biggest loss ever at their Tilt Boys home game.
Ace 3.
90 more?
Yep.
Phil in a rare position at this final table. He has the bigger stack.
Call.
And he will call and put Perry Friedman at risk.
Perry is behind. That strip of doom might need some retooling.
I'm only 3-2, right? What?
Here we go again.
Ivy going to give him more action?
Why not?
What am I? How about I got ace 3 against Jack 10. What's the math?
Like 2 to 1.
2 to 1? Huh?
I want to bet on the Jack 10.
Yeah. Can I? You can't bet on the Jack 10.
Well, I'm giving you insurance then, so you're going to lay me 2 to 1.
Yeah, 20 to 10. Oh, wait a minute. Am I laying you 2 to 1?
Well, what is it?
Poor Perry Friedman has to wait for the side bet show to end.
You can't lay 2 to 1. It's not 2 to 1.
Why did you tell me it was 2 to 1?
Because I wanted Jack 10.
16 to 10. I'll take 16 to 10. Okay, you got it. You're ridiculous, but yes. You tried to rob me.
No, I'm not. Of course I am a little bit.
If Phil Ivey told me the earth was round, I wouldn't believe him. He is a Hall of Fame hustler.
Friedman all in. Here's the flop. 6-4-7. Helmuth adds an inside straight draw.
Turn a 5 and end this.
10 of spades.
Give me a 5. Give me a 5.
10 of spades. And did anyone throw away the 10 of spades?
8
I'm just
makes
checking.
it interesting, but 5, it's over.
Put a 10 of spades on
5
there.
or ace is over.
Phil over with his wife calling for a 5. And the turn card is a 5.
I can still...
Helmuth hit a straight.
Yeah. 8 or a 3.
Perry Friedman now can only stay alive if a straight hits the board. They chop the pot.
An 8 high straight, or if the tray is to come
Now how much show you?
I'm up, you owe me 59,000.
59,000?
You gotta love Ivy. He's up big and he hasn't even played a hand. Perry needs an 8 or a 3.
Oh, and he pairs his jack too late. Helmuth straight wins the pot.
I'm up. You owe me 59,000.
Perry Friedman and his strip of doom go down in 7th place. And Perry will take home over $57,000 for the effort.
I knew I'd hit my jack or my 10.
So Phil Helmuth gets a little traction at this Hold'em final table. No longer the short stack, and perhaps bracelet number 12 is coming back into focus.
I knew he was moving in.
But to get there, he's going to have to play his textbook best and outplay several tough opponents and deal with one man not even in the tournament looking to take more of his money.
I'm a very good winner. I'm a bad loser. A very good winner, but a very bad loser.
For Norman Chat, I'm Lon McCarran. We'll see you next time from the World Series of Poker.
I can dodge bullets, baby.
This is beyond fairy tale. It's inconceivable.
Doyle's done it! This is the greatest tournament in the world! On a night that's had its share of drama.
This is just sick.
And excitement, all eyes remain on one man.
Me. Of course, I'm the greatest Hold'em player in the world.
Phil Helmuth came to this table with 11 bracelets in hand and a target on his back.
I'm nothing but the nuts for 3 days, and they still think I'm messing around. They're so young.
Playing with Phil makes me wish that we were allowed to wear headphones.
You want to play? Let's play. I'm going to show you a little something, okay?
At first, it seemed the table might get the best of the brat.
I raise one hand every 30 hands. They keep moving into me, and I don't have 4 million in chips.
But Helmuth had other plans.
There's the rest of the world, and there's me.
He's battled back.
I'm taking you out, kid.
Full of confidence, bracelet number 12 is within his grasp.
But now I'm ready to be the man, and I'm ready to embrace history. Right now, today.
Welcome to the Rio and the World Series of Poker presented by Milwaukee's Best Light. Along with Norman Chat, I'm Lon McCarran. 6 players remain at this $3,000 no-limit Hold'em final table, each focused on winning the bracelet and over $500,000.
Phil Helmuth has been short-stacked for a long while, but he's dodging bullets, he's dodging baby-faced poker assassins, and he's still hanging around.
Looking at our chip count, you see Helmuth now in 5th place. Jason Song is the short stack. Beth Shak has had an up-and-down final table right now, sitting in 3rd place. Dustin Holmes is and has been the chip leader from the start.
Cha-Cha, who's the best, Cha-Cha? Who's the best, baby?
You're the best the world don't know.
We the best, baby. We the best. We the best. We the best. Come on, man.
That's 3-time bracelet winner Chao Zhang.
We're the best, baby.
You're the best.
Chao's one of the great cash game players in the world.
What they've done to me today, they don't even know what they've done to me today. I'm still here. Chow, I'm still here.
Phil, the best in the world. You.
The world. That's a big place, baby. The world.
Actually, the world seems a little smaller and louder when Phil is in it.
Does Phil need a morale booster in the crowd? All right, we are 6-handed. The blinds are at 15 and 30,000, a 4,000 chip ante from each player. One of these players will win a World Series bracelet and over $500,000. That is Shankar Pillai. He will fold. Beth Shak lays it down. And on to Phil Helmuth on Milwaukee's Best Light Pocket Cam. Phil shows us a 10 and a 6. 10-6 of diamonds for Helmuth.
Helmuth has a Elvis-like appeal on the felt, does he not?
He does indeed. He limps in. And over to the big blind, Ben Feynman. Helmuth and Feynman have sparred verbally at this final table. He checks. 9-8 ace on the flop. Feynman's king is still best.
These two have gone at it a few times. I still don't think Phil knows Ben Feynman's name.
Helmuth checks. He has a gut shot straight draw. They both check to the turn. Turn card 7 of hearts, and Helmuth hits a straight and earns the check mark.
And Phil holds his frozen pose as long as he can. Boy, he got bingo there on the turn.
He has been aching to put a hurt on Ben Feynman. And now Helmuth with the straight made, reaching for chips.
And Feynman made a pair of 7s.
Phil puts out 40,000. Feynman now gives up his pair of 7s.
Phil is going to win this spot.
You were trying to trap him that hand.
I made a big laydown, Phil. I had a 7.
Give him 3 8s, please.
I had king 7. It was a big laydown for me.
Wow.
I played too fast to slow down with king 7.
God, I can't believe I didn't check it. So bad a play.
I wasn't betting.
And maybe you hit a king or a 7.
I had king 7.
Right, maybe you hit a king or a 7 on the river.
No.
Now how much should I win?
Yeah, then I'll give you some chips.
You might give me 400.
Phil's got big hands, Lon. Can he stack his chips faster? It wasn't that big of a pot.
Helmuth may think he missed an opportunity there, but at least he's stacking chips instead of giving them away, and Phil's quest for number 12 is still alive. With his brash style and outspoken presence at the table, Phil Helmuth clearly invites the giant bullseye he wears on his chest. But Norman, tonight, as we watch him play a short stack, he again is proving why he's so difficult to beat at a Hold'em final table.
Phil Helmuth is terrific at playing the big stack or the small stack. When he's got the big stack, he uses his chips as a weapon and he talks a lot. When he's got the small stack, he protects those chips with his life and he talks a lot. Best I can tell, win or lose, he's a pretty good talker.
Well, Phil's talk does affect how others play against him, and he's been able to benefit from that so far.
Phil Ivey with a vested interest in Helmuth, sitting next to Dan Shak, Beth's husband, to his left.
The yellow 1,000 chips are gone. Everyone left with the red chips worth 5,000 and the peach chips worth 25,000.
There is Beth Shak with the lowest strike zone in poker. Quite a crouch on her peaks.
She will fold over to Phil Helmuth. Phil with 1-3. Helmuth with pocket threes.
Raise it. 120.
Next in line is Ben Feynman, who has pledged 25% of his earnings to the Desmoid Tumor Research Foundation. He has king, queen.
How much do you have, man?
About 400 total. You know I can never call you, right?
If you're Ben Feynman, you got to love asking Helmuth how much he has.
I raise.
And now he gets to raise the greatest Hold'em player in the world who doesn't even know his name.
Seems everyone has been coming over the top of Phil at this final table.
Ben playing his own big stack poker against Phil.
He will raise it up to 300,000. Action behind him folds back to Phil Helmuth.
I mean, this is... I don't even think the public understands how unlucky I've been here.
I do, Phil.
They've come over like half my raises all day long. So sick.
Ben indicating to Phil he's raised him twice all day long.
They've come over half my raises, and rather than have 2 million, I'm the short stack. It's so sick.
It's sick, Phil.
Shankar raises every other hand. He's trying to lose all his chips.
He's trying.
Well, he's tried so hard.
But he hasn't.
Oh, he's been lucky.
Shankar again sideswiped by Phil in a hand he's not even playing.
I don't know if I can lay this down.
You can lay it down, Phil. And you can lay it down theatrically.
Yes, I can. Folding pairs, Norman. It's so sick. I mean, all I do is wait for a real hand, and they just keep popping me. I'm supposed to have 2 million. Public doesn't even understand how unlucky I've been at this table.
If they're listening, they certainly understand.
Does Phil know you're not actually in the table?
Yeah, he thinks I'm in the table.
You win, buddy. I'm supposed to bust this guy like 4 times by now.
He has a name, Phil. Learn it.
Ben Feynman, the World Series rookie, once again gets the best of the 11-time World Series bracelet winner.
They don't respect my raises, and I don't. And I.
Do you ever give people credit for a hand, though?
Ben's got moxie.
Look, I folded, didn't I? I had a pair.
Now, patient Helmuth can fold with the best of them.
The 2007 World Series of Poker is presented by Milwaukee's Best Light, your best bet for great taste, Miller Brewing Company, and in part by Degree Men, more power than you need, one day you'll need it, and Harris Entertainment. Pre-register for next year's WSOP now at WorldSeriesOfPoker.com.
Back at the Rio, 6-handed, the tension getting thicker.
You may have like the dead opposite read on me. Every time I have a hand, you decide I'm weak. But you're right, I didn't call you both times. But if I stay here long enough, I'm going to get all your chips. I know that.
You're going to get all mine.
All of them.
All of Shankar's.
Shankar just a stationary target today.
Shankar I don't even have to try against.
He's picked up aces twice and he still has no chips.
Tell him, Shankar. And tell him the guy's name next to him is Ben. He's a nice kid.
Let's look at Ben's cards.
I'm afraid to get yelled at, so.
He folds his 10-5.
Move on.
Action over to our chip leader, Dustin Holmes, who's not been very active today at this final table. Pocket threes. And Dustin will play. He raises it up to 110,000. Pillai folds to Beth Shak. Ace 10.
Beth and her husband Dan, one of the faster rising poker couples in the US of A.
And Beth will make the call from the small blind, cost her 90,000 more. From the big blind, Phil Helmuth. Phil with Queen 6. And he will fold without a speech.
Thank you.
So it'll be heads up.
So ridiculous.
Still frustrated.
Holmes and Shak, the flop king 7-7. Holmes still with the advantage with those threes.
Morgan, it's ridiculous.
Maybe a little speech.
I mean, how hard is it?
It's definitely a speech.
All I do is wait for a hand and they come over the top of me, and I don't have $2 million. I'm supposed to have $2 million.
There are 2 games going on, the final table, and of course, Phil World.
Beth Shak in the small blind checks, and Holmes comes back at her with 200,000. Beth missed the flop.
They play too many hands. They come over the top too much.
I love Phil World.
They steal my blind every time.
Every time.
And I'm the short stack.
The short stack.
It's impossible.
Actually, it's quite possible.
Beth faced with a big bet from Holmes, 200,000.
She just has ace high.
Her husband, Dan Shak, I'm sure a bit nervous on the sidelines.
I'm all in.
Wow, a lot nervous on the sidelines.
You got it.
And Dustin will fold.
Oh, well, Beth says, I have no fear, none. She says, there are times I just know things. I know what people have. That was a great read against Dustin Holmes.
Ace King? Didn't re-raise me with Ace King? What'd you have?
Something that if you would have called, I would have been sitting with your chips.
So, Ace Jack of Spades?
Pretty close, Dustin.
So Beth takes a swipe out of the chip leader. Dan's best World Series finish is 9th, so Beth has already earned some bragging rights at home, but Dan has only himself to blame.
I got started playing poker because my husband Dan was playing poker whenever he possibly could.
She got a little tired of me being on the road all the time, so she decided instead of fighting it to join it, which was a very nice thing for her to do.
Once I got to a certain level, Dan encouraged me to play tournaments, and I love it.
Beth is a bright woman that usually when she sets herself to something, she strives to be the best at it.
I would say 75% of her conversations now are about poker.
You know what? She's my wife. We're partners. My success is her success is my success.
It is so out of control in our house. I mean, our marriage, it's very bizarre. I mean, Sunday nights at the dinner table is sometimes with 2 or 3 laptops and Chinese food, and we're playing online tournaments. And our kids, they shake their heads at us. I mean, we're not a normal family.
Sunday night dinner at the Shacks. It's like a $500 buy-in just to get some egg rolls.
Beth is a self-taught poker player. She's getting some mid-game advice from her husband Dan and Phil Ivey, I guess.
And if I'm Dan Lon, I'd learn a new game. He ain't going to beat her now.
Should be tough to live with at home. Beth Shak will not play that hand. To Phil Helmuth. Phil with king-queen suited.
Raise it up. 110.
When Phil won his 11th bracelet a little while back, he bought 11 bottles of champagne at a nightclub. He could have called me.
Wow, I'm hoping for number 12 then. Feynman folded. Dustin Holmes folded. Jason Song folded. Shankar Pillai, our last hope. He gives it up.
Yeah, I wanted action. It's not aces, but I wanted action. Big pair? I'm still here.
We know.
Another big pair? Or just ace king?
I'm not talking about my hands anymore. Action would have been just fine with me. No more talkie-talkie. Now Dewey.
Can we hold you to that?
Dewey?
I mean, I'm not showing any hands. I'm not talking about any hands. That's what I mean. What, you think I'm going to shut up?
That takes about
Everybody at home
5% of the conversation at
out of the equation.
Everybody's going to fall asleep at home.
I agree. Nobody wants to watch me.
That's not about you, kid.
It's Phil's world. We just play in it.
The World Series of Poker, presented by Milwaukee's Best Light. Player of the Year.
During the 38 years of the World Series, over 400 bracelets have been awarded in open events, but only 10 of them have been won by women. Among the top players in this elite group are Jennifer Harmon, Cindy Violette, and Annie Duke. However, earlier tonight, this exclusive club inducted a new member, Katja Thader of Germany. She won the $1,500 Raz tournament by overcoming a field of 340 players. Thader became the first woman to win an open event bracelet since Duke and Violette both won in 2004. Let's look at our Player of the Year leaderboard. Scott Clements, a bracelet winner in back-to-back years, heads the list. And our final table bystander, Phil Ivey, is making a good run at this title.
Speaking of poker couples, Katja's husband, Jan-Christoph von Halle, also made a World Series final table this year.
And Beth Shak would love to make it a 2-bracelet day for the women here at the Rio. She's our chip leader right now. Blinds at 20 and 40, ante of 5,000 from each player. Pillai folds. Beth Shak gives it up. Phil Helmuth now under 200,000 chips and the short stack. King 10.
Raise it, 120.
Phil's going to raise it up 3 times the big blind to 120,000 to Ben Feynman now.
In the small blind.
Ace 3. He's shied away from Phil as of late.
I'm pretty desperate, Ben. I'm pretty sure I'm going to lay this one down, too.
Oh, he called him Ben. A beautiful friendship is born.
Desperado. Do I have to pay the Eagles for lyrics?
They would pay you not to sing their songs.
Only $1.95, kid.
And Ben will give it up.
Oh, Phil talks him out of it.
Dustin Holmes, Queen Jack offsuit in the big blind.
I don't blame you, Dustin. You got to do what you got to do, kid. Double me up, though. Only a 155 more. Unless I fold.
Which Phil has done a number of times.
You wouldn't even notice a $1.55.
And Holmes moves all in. Helmuth makes the call.
I'm all right.
This is the degree all-in moment. Helmuth at risk, but again with the best hand.
Well, Phil got the right blind to call him.
King 10 against Queen Jack. What is it?
And looking for insurance again from Ivy.
65 to 45. I'll take it for
65, 45.
30 dimes.
What do you want?
It's 110.
Very good.
65, 45. I'm betting on the Queen Jack to win. 30,000, 65, 45.
65, 45? These are professionals?
Okay, so I'm laying you a price.
Yeah, 30,000 or whatever it is.
All right, you got it. You're betting on the Queen Jack, you said?
Yeah, because he wants to.
Not too long ago,
take the money.
Helmuth lost $536,000 playing Chinese poker to Ivy and Patrick Antonius in Monte Carlo. Biggest gambling loss of his life. Ivy's trying to do it to him again.
Turn a king and end this thing, okay?
Phil getting strength from his wife, Kathy. Now the flop, tray 4-5, all clubs.
Race, baby.
Holmes has the only pocket club.
He likes it, but Helmuth's still ahead with his king. And if Feynman had played, he'd made a pair of 3s and would have Helmuth on the brink of elimination.
Helmuth been hanging on by his fingernails at this final table. Ivy stands to make some more cash if Helmuth wins the hand.
Turn a red king, please.
A red king will help, but he wouldn't be out of the woods.
Ace 3, right?
Turn card, a red 8. But Dustin Holmes still has a lot of chances. Helmuth needs to survive one more card to keep his quest for bracelet number 12 alive.
No club, no queen, no jack.
Holmes needs a club, queen or jack, to knock out Helmuth.
Red king, baby.
River card, ace of spades. Phil Helmuth earns the degree check mark and doubles up. His quest for 12 is still alive. Oh, and Feynman would have made aces up and knocked out Phil.
And Helmuth has to finish in 5th today just to cover his debt to Ivy.
What now? I owe you 30 more thousand. Now what is it? 89,000?
89.
I owe you 89,000 now. If I finish, I just hand all the money to you.
You just have to win, and you have to win.
Yeah, I'd be happy to pay if I win.
Happiness is a 12th bracelet.
The Degree All-In Moment is brought to you by Degree Men. More power than you need. One day you'll need it.
Coming soon. One event. One phenomenon. One champion. The World Series of Poker main event begins in 2 weeks. Who will sit at the final table? Who will win it all?
This is it, baby.
If Jamie Gold wins again, I will swim buck naked from the Santa Monica Pier to the Galapagos Islands.
Beth Shak becoming a dominant chip leader here. Phil Helmuth not the short stack, but not far from it. The longer he's here, the more money Ivy makes.
Actually, I owe Ivy $89,000 and I gave him $20, so I've lost $109,000 on insurance.
And Ivy's thinking, if I played golf today, I probably would have lost $500,000.
You're laughing with me at least, Ivy. I still love you, Ivy, anyway.
Ivy loves Phil just for sitting there and winning those hands. All right, Ben Feynman with Ace-King.
This is a guy I love. He says his perfect day is sleeping late and then playing poker. What a life.
Raise.
He's going to raise it up to $120,000 to Dustin Holmes now. King 10, and he moves all in.
I call.
And a quick call from Feynman. And Feynman now has put the one-time chip leader at risk.
I got him covered.
He's got me covered. He's got me covered.
Holmes is dominated and destitute at the moment.
Dustin began this final table as the chip leader and was the chip leader until recently. And now the flop. And there's a 10. Holmes takes the lead with a pair of 10s.
Oh, boy. Dustin Holmes gets very lucky on the flop. And now Ben Feynman in a position to be short-stacked.
Turn card is a 7 of diamonds. No help to Feynman.
Holmes about to get recharged chip-wise. Feynman can still knock out Dustin Holmes with an ace.
And the river card.
And here's our river card. Another 10, and Holmes doubles up with trip 10s.
Don't sweat, buddy.
And now he is again well over 1 million chips.
That's 4.
And what a hit for Ben Feynman.
You handled it just the way I would have handled it.
Talking to me or him?
You. I might have thrown something.
Well, Dustin happy that he sucked out on Ben instead of Phil.
You know, Phil, not a single person at this final table would be here if they didn't have a suck out like that at some point. So if it didn't happen now, it would have happened before and I wouldn't even be here.
It didn't happen to me very much.
I forgot.
Phil's always ahead. He doesn't suck out.
Dustin Holmes seems happy to stay out of Phil's way, but last year, Dustin was the catalyst of one of the most famous conflicts in main event history.
During the main event, there was a time when there was one less ante out, when they're collecting the ante.
Something's not right. One is missing.
That's mine.
When Jeff said, "This is mine," I said, "Oh, okay, then this is, must be me."
One is missing an ante. Thank you.
But I thought I saw you throw that.
I put it there. He put out these 2 chips.
I saw him throw the ante in. He says he did. I don't necessarily believe him. So,
Trying to ignore them as much as possible because I didn't want to get involved in it. They both, both of them kept saying, did you do it or did you do it? And I honestly did not know.
So if he threw the ante out, he just gets robbed.
Aren't you for sure you think I'm going to rob him for 5,000? You idiot.
It doesn't matter.
Behave like an idiot.
They got into the altercation just because of that ante.
I saw him throw
it in. 3 times, you piece of...
Come on.
I'll take your head off, buddy.
He's threatening me in front of everyone? You said you'll knock my teeth out.
When I started playing in the events here at the World Series again, every time, the antes come up, somebody says, "Oh, you're that guy again." I'm a little better at it now. I always kind of keep my finger on my ante and stuff just because I don't want to hear the joke anymore that, I was the one that forgot to put it out.
Dustin's a good player. He made a World Series final table last year also and finished 19th in the main event, largely because I don't think he ever puts in the ante, and he saves a lot of chips that way.
The antes are 5,000, and all are accounted for in this hand, Norm. Phil Helmuth with an ace 10 of clubs.
Raise it.
He's going to raise it from the 1 hole, as he calls it. He's first to act.
120.
6 players left. He's going to make it 120,000 to play. Ben Feynman folded. Dustin Holmes lays it down, as does Jason Song. Pillai folds now to Beth Shak.
In the big blind.
King, Queen of Hearts. And the chip leader, Beth Shak. And Beth will play along, calls the extra 80,000. So Shak and Helmuth to the flop, and there's a queen for Shak, and Phil Helmuth paired his 10 also.
Shak with top pair, Helmuth with middle pair, and top kicker.
I'm all in.
And Beth Shak putting Phil to the test.
This would push Helmuth all in. And if Phil were to call here, his quest for a 12th bracelet would be in grave peril.
And Helmuth does move all in and sees that he is behind.
She called the race with a queen king.
Well, it was suited. She was in the big blind, and she was getting 2.5 to 1 on her money.
And Dan Shak on his feet.
She called the race with king queen.
Well, it was suited. She was in the big blind, and she was getting 2.5 to 1 on her money.
She called the race with a king queen.
Well, it was suited.
We know.
2.5 to 1 on her money.
I couldn't think she had a queen. I mean, how could she call a race with king queen?
She called the raise with a king queen. The Phil Helmuth story.
Helmuth needs help to stay alive. Turn card, 9 of hearts, and Shak steals some outs, hitting a flush draw.
Well, Shak once paid Phil to give her husband a private lesson. Now she's in a position to knock him out. Helmuth needs a non-heart ace or 10, or he is gone.
And the river card.
And now our river card is a deuce, and Phil Helmuth is gone. The all-time bracelet winner will have to wait another day to win number 12. And the Shak family celebrates.
And for Phil Helmuth, a lot of disappointment.
Sorry, buddy.
Losing day for him, actually. He hasn't covered his costs to Phil Ivey.
It was very nice playing the Phil tonight.
Still wins 76,000. He'll ship that and more to Phil Ivey.
It was a sort of play.
King queen.
Well, it was suited. She was in the big blind, and she was getting 2.5 to 1 on her money.
Beth Shak now over 2 million chips at this final table and in great shape to become the second woman of the day to win a bracelet here at the World Series of Poker. Dan Shak is a happy man, but Phil Ivey's gravy train just got knocked out.
That's so sick. It's so sick. So she can't win. She's gonna give all those chips away. She got mine though. I hate poker.
The World Series of Poker, presented by Milwaukee's Best Light.
Post-mortem at the Rio.
I mean, I'm so far the best player in the world, and Hold'em, it's not even close. I mean, the level of play at these final tables is just so awful.
Well, when Phil gets knocked out, it's always someone else's fault. But the bottom line is Beth Shak is the leader at this final table, while Phil Helmuth hits the rail.
And Lon, when my man Phil Helmuth does get knocked out, they hear about it in China.
We started this tournament with 827 players. After 3 days of play, we're down to the final 5, and Beth Shak has more than half the chips in play. Blinds at 20 and 40,000. Shak with a very close look at her whole card. She folds over to the short stack now at the table. Ben Feynman, Queen, 3 of hearts.
Come on.
And he will move all in for his final 225,000 chips.
He hasn't been able to recover since that tough beat to Dustin Holmes.
Next in line, 38-year-old grad student Jason Song from New York with pocket nines. And as you have mentioned, Norman, when he's in a hand, he usually has the best of it, and he does call and put Feynman at risk.
My run is over.
And if it is, it's been a great run, and Ben Feynman has been a great presence at this table.
It's over.
Jason Song in commanding position. Feynman on the ropes. The flop now, 6-10-4. Feynman missed that.
Feynman's mother, as you may recall, backed him in the World Series. They'll share his winnings, less taxes and charitable contributions. Jason Song is poised to knock him out.
And now the turn card, ace of clubs, and Feynman down to his last card, perhaps.
Ben needs help, or he is going to follow his new buddy Phil Helmuth right out the door. Ben needs a queen on the river, or he is wamboozled.
River card is a jack, and Jason Song wins the pot. Feynman's gone. We mentioned that Ben's younger brother Alex suffers from desmoid tumors. Ben pledged a quarter of his winnings today to the Desmoid Tumor Research Foundation. With his $100,000 payday, they'll be pleased with his $25,000 contribution. Jason Song wins the pot, and we are down to our last 4 players at this final table, led by Beth Shak, who earlier knocked out Feynman's adversary, Phil Helmuth.
It was a fun experience. It's always an interesting table when Phil's around. Honestly, he made a good amount of tough laydowns, and for the most part, they were right. He said he was going to bust me, so at least I got that going for me.
Feynman was fun to have at the table, as you mentioned, Norman. Maybe Phil could take some lessons from him on conduct at the table. All right, continuing four-handed, Beth Shak, almost 2.5 million chips, and a horse race for second place among the other 3. There was Shankar Pillai from Comac, New York, in his first ever World Series of Poker event, Jack 10. Shankar has been quiet as of late.
But when he does play, he plays quite aggressively.
And he is going to raise it up to $110,000. Chip leader Beth Shak lays it down. Dustin Holmes, who started this final table as the chip leader with Ace-Jack.
Both Holmes and Pillai have found a lot of success playing online.
Raise.
And Holmes is going to re-raise.
290.
Holmes seems to be dialed in on Shankar.
Jason Song now. Flush with some new chips from Ben Feynman. He has pocket 6s. And folds them.
Jason's pretty conservative. He wants no part of these aggressive 20-somethings.
Re-raise now back to Pillai. That's his girlfriend Sonal and a friend Brian Kershaw.
All in.
And Pillai moves all in.
Well, if Holmes is dialed in on Shankar like I claimed, he'll call here. He would have Pillai dominated.
I think it's a race, but I'm folding anyways. You got it.
And Dustin Holmes gives it up.
Pillai, the short stack, gets aggressive, risks it all, and gets away with it.
That would have been a fun showdown, but Pillai does take the uncontested pot and show his cards.
Nice hand. I thought he might make a move on me.
Shankar says going from online to live, everything's in slow motion, but he plays fast.
I knew you were going to re-raise me, and I had a feeling.
Really?
Yeah.
I had Ace-Jack. I had you killed.
I laid down the best hand.
What?
I had a pair of 6s.
Shankar takes over second place. He is a senior in college studying finance, but found that applying his education was more profitable at the poker table than at the office.
I was working at UBS. It's a financial firm. I had like an entry-level position, but I quit after about 6 months. I was just playing online like part-time, and I was still making more money just playing a few hours online than I was working like 50 hours a week at UBS, so I decided to come out here. Having a finance background definitely does help me with bankroll management. I have a better sense of how to manage it and also like how to invest it. Because when I first started playing online, I was definitely a losing player. Like I would win, but then I would get ahead of myself, and then I would lose, and then I would play way too high and then lose everything. That would never happen anymore. If I did win, I'll probably put a lot of it away and invest and probably keep playing poker after that.
Shankar has 1 semester left at Baruch College. He says, I'm going to graduate. He'd better. If he doesn't, I'm sending Phil Helmuth to his parents' house.
Dustin Holmes with ace-4. Dustin looking to get something going.
15.
He's going to raise it to $115,000. Jason Song folds. Shankar Pillai now. Ace-deuce from the big blind.
Shankar says he will follow Phil Locke's advice and take his winnings and invest. Locke says then you can just play for the love of the game.
So 2 weak aces with a chance for a split pot. Here's the flop. It is 4 trade queen. Pillai picks up a straight draw. Holmes paired his 4. Pillai first to act. He checks it to Dustin. And Dustin will check it to the turn. Turn card now is a 5, and Pillai catches the wheel, and he checks immediately.
150.
And Dustin Holmes is going to bet. He got a straight draw with that pair of 4s and bets $150,000.
Holmes sitting on a dog of a hand, though.
Raise.
And Pillai is going to raise it up to $320,000 now.
And Holmes has got to think about it. Shankar's strength is that he bets aggressively from so many angles, you're never sure if he has a hand.
Mullen.
I call.
You got me.
And an all-in and call immediately from Pillai. And Holmes is in serious trouble.
Oh, a misread line, a misstep, in all likelihood an end to Holmes' day. He puts Shankar on a move.
Pillai wants the short stack, now in position to challenge for the lead. And his girlfriend looks like she can't believe what's happening out there.
Well, Holmes cannot win the pot line. He can chop it with a deuce. So Dustin needs a 2 on the river to make the same straight, or he is gone.
And it is a jack. Dustin Holmes eliminated in 4th place. He began this final table as the chip leader and has to be disappointed going out short of a bracelet.
Boy, things change quickly around these parts.
And a very happy rooting section for Shankar Pillai, because this World Series rookie just got a lot more dangerous with 1.7 million chips. Welcome back to the Rio Poker Room here at the $3,000 no-limit hold'em final table. Fortunes do change quickly. Jason Song has rapidly accumulated over 1 million chips, mostly at the expense of that man Shankar Pillai. With 3 players left, Beth Shak still is the dominant chip leader. Everyone looking for the bracelet on over $500,000.
And Phil Helmuth back to pay his debts with casino chips.
I owe you $14,000. 89, right? There's 75 of it.
He's an honorable man.
Thanks for watching, Phil.
Yeah, no problem. The next time you make it to the final table, give me a call.
I lost 43,000. You know that, right?
I'm your biggest fan.
I went to collect.
I'm his biggest fan from now on.
Clearly, Helmuth and Ivy love being poker players and the lifestyle that goes along with it. But what would some of the top players do if they weren't playing poker? We'll find out in this edition of The Nuts.
If I wasn't playing poker...
That's a tough one.
I never thought about that.
I know I wouldn't be an air traffic controller because I got kicked out of that profession. Okay.
If I wasn't playing poker, I'd be dancing. I love dancing.
Maybe professional dog sitter or something.
I would hopelessly be trying to be a professional golfer.
Oh, that was perfect.
If the game of poker didn't exist, I'd probably be on top of a mountain meditating.
I would be miserable because it would mean I'd have to work a job. It would suck.
I am no different than most poker players. We can't function in normal society.
I think that I'm playing poker because I don't have an answer to that question. I'm serious.
Norman, what would you be doing if you weren't covering poker?
I would be a pastry chef on an oil rig. I love the outdoors.
All right, we continue at this final table. 3-handed. Beth Shak is still the chip leader. Beth finished 8th in the 2005 World Series ladies event. Blinds at 30 and 60,000, and on the Milwaukee's Best Light Pocket Cam, pocket 8s for Shak.
Beth's been playing 3 or 4 years, self-taught. She says her game has reached another level.
Well, her chip stack certainly has. And she is going to raise the action, make it $225,000 to play. Jason Song says, no thanks, too rich for me. And pocket aces for Pillai.
Well, I talked about never knowing if Pillai has a hand. Well, he's got a hand this time.
Yeah.
Buyin.
And he moves it all into the pot. And Beth makes the call, and she'll hate what she sees. Shankar Pillai in great shape to double up.
Indeed, the big stack is about to transfer some of her chips to the short stack.
So Shankar Pillai, who has been very aggressive today, got aces just in time against the chip leader. And now the flop. Jack, King, Jack. Pillai in better shape now with those aces.
And meanwhile, Beth Shak just sits and broods a bit. Shankar simply needs to avoid an 8 on the Turner River to double up.
Turn card. And that's a 9, not an 8. Everyone's heart stopped for a second.
She knew it wasn't an 8. And Dan Shak's a smart guy. He knew it wasn't an 8. Beth needs an 8, and an 8 only, to knock out Shankar Pillai.
Hold up. River card is a 6, and the pocket aces of Shankar Pillai score a big win. But Beth hangs on to the chip lead at this final table.
I had to call.
It's okay, Beth. Hang in there. You had the call. Absolutely. It's nothing.
Oh, man, he's whipped. He agrees with anything she says. By the way, Lon, breaking news, I'm getting married again.
Wow, really?
Yeah, I need some new material.
The 2007 World Series of Poker is presented by Milwaukee's Best Light, your best bet for great taste. Miller Brewing Company, and in part by Degree Men, more power than you need. One day you'll need it. And the Rio All-Suite Hotel and Casino, home of the 2007 World Series of Poker.
Welcome back to the Rio. As we have seen, fortunes can shift quickly. Jason Song is on the verge of elimination, holding Queen 5. Shankar Pillai, again with pocket aces, is on the verge of becoming our chip leader. The flop was no good to Song.
Song would need running queens or running straight cards to stay alive here.
Turn card now is another jack, and that ends it. Jason Song drawing dead and does become our third-place finisher. Song will take home over $212,000 for his efforts today, and now we are heads up for the bracelet. Beth Shak versus Shankar Pillai, and better late than never for Pillai. For the first time, he has taken over the chip lead at this final table, and Beth Shak will try to make it 2 bracelets for the women today at the World Series of Poker. Well, favored or not, we know anything can happen when you're heads up at the World Series. One woman looking to be part of history, one man focused on victory, both with their eyes on the ultimate prize, but only one will win the $500,000 and World Series bracelet. There is the World Series of Poker bracelet that will go to the champion of this final table, Shankar Pillai, and Beth Shak, pretty even in chips.
It is Beth Shak, part of the Shak Poker Dynasty, versus the 22-year-old Shankar Pillai in his first World Series event. And right now, I believe I hear the deep, distant wailing of Phil Helmuth somewhere.
Helmuth hung on as long as he could. Ace-8 of diamonds for Pillai. And he's going to raise it up to $180,000.
It's a really good hand, heads up.
Beth Shak now. King 8.
Well, if you're heads up and you have a king, you are usually ahead.
Beth will commit some chips, it looks like. Shankar trying to get a read on Beth. And Beth is going to raise it up to $735,000.
How much more is that?
A lot. That is a big re-raise, Lon.
Oh, it really is.
Shankar with a suited ace. I don't think he's going to be backing down. Beth pushing it hard, trying to take the pot down right here.
Neither one of the Shaks has been this close to such a big victory. I imagine both of their stomachs are churning.
555?
555.
He makes the call.
Shankar is going to make the call.
So Shankar Pillai with his ace-8 against Beth Shak's king-8 going to the flop. Heads up, the flop is 10-8-3. They both pair their 8.
Pillai in much better shape, though.
I'm all in.
And Beth Shak moves all in.
They're nearly even in chips. She is all in. He would be in for almost all of his chips.
Pillai has Shak dominated, but this is still a huge decision for him here.
And if he does call her, he will be on the brink of a World Series title. He's looking at middle pair, top kicker.
Is he going to do it?
This would be a tough call. Remember, Beth also raised pre-flop. She could have a big pocket pair. She could have hit a 10. In either case, Shankar would be in awful shape.
Maybe he's slowing it down and everything's
If Shankar calls, it's Beth Shak who's going to be in awful shape.
What a call.
Pillai will make the call and put Beth Shak on the verge of elimination and put himself that much closer to a bracelet.
The king of diamonds and the eight of spades.
And Shankar loves what he sees.
Oh, yeah. He told us he might buy a car if he wins this thing. He should be picking out a model.
And the Shak dynasty about to crumble.
Yeah, baby.
Okay.
Shankar Pillai with the ace-8 against the king-8 of Team Shak.
Where did Ivy go? I think he's spending Helmuth's money.
This was going to be a momentous victory no matter who won, but it is Pillai with the upper hand right now.
Here comes the turn.
All right, now the turn card. 7 of spades, no help to Beth Shak.
Beth sees the grim news in front of her. Shankar Pillai in his first World Series event ever, 1 card away from a bracelet. He needs to dodge a king on the river.
And now the river card. It is a 2 of clubs, and Shankar Pillai has done it. Beth Shak came close, but his runner-up, Shankar Pillai, in his first ever World Series event, comes through as your champion. And a great tournament for Beth Shak indeed. She should be very happy. She'll take home almost $329,000. What a day for Shankar. All hail the rookie. When this day began, the poker brat took center stage.
There's the rest of the world, and there's me.
And though he never lacked confidence,
It's not about you, kid.
he fell short of his ultimate goal.
I mean, I'm so far the best player in the world, and Ultimate's not even close.
When the dust finally cleared, it was a newcomer that willed his way to the top.
Hold on.
Shankar Pillai bluffed and battled his way to his first World Series bracelet.
You said you were playing this tournament just to get the experience. How was the experience?
The greatest experience of my life. It hasn't hit me yet.
For Norman Chan, I'm Lon McCarran. See you next time from the World Series of Poker.